Okay, class, welcome to the handout from 5.2 on area and perimeter. So we have a rectangle below, has a perimeter of 28 units. What is the area of the rectangle? Okay, perimeter means that is the distance all the way around a rectangle. And so those are one-dimensional lengths. So the perimeters consist of a bunch of little lengths, and it is a length in total. So we have, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this perimeter, or for this rectangle in number 1. I'm going to zoom in here and outline it in red. Now what we have drawn here is the grid that the rectangle is on, so you can see how big the unit squares are for area. Remember, area is the number of square units inside the rectangle. So I'm going to highlight this rectangle in blue. Okay. The perimeter is all of these lengths here. They're a bunch of little lengths, so you count them up. So I'm going to count up these perimeters here. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 on the top. Since it's a rectangle, the lengths on the top and the bottom will be the same. So I have 13 on top, 1 on the side, 13 on the bottom. I'm outlining the perimeter. Okay, there's 13 and another one on the side. So even though they told us the perimeter already, I'm going over what it would be. Perimeter is equal to 13 units from the top, plus 1 unit from the side. We're going to name that side the left side, the right side. Going right next. Plus 13 units from the bottom. Plus 1 from the left side. Okay. What we have is 13 and 13 make 26. And it equals 28 units. Okay. Now they told me that the perimeter has 28 units, so I wanted to review what that was, though. We're finding the area of the rectangles, how many squares are in there. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the squares in yellow, make this bigger. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So the area is 13 units squared, because there's square units. And the perimeter was 28 units. You can find the perimeter, the area, by multiplying the length times width. So we have the length here in green, which we know is 13 units, or little segments. We know that the width is 1. Okay, so the area is also equal to 13 units times 1 unit. It gives me a 13 units squared. Okay, so you can see that in green. Alright, so we want to find the measure of both the perimeter and the area for number 2. And in this one, go ahead and pause the video and find the perimeter and area. By finding the perimeter, you can count the segments that are on the sides, and the area, you can count the inside squares. Go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, so what we have here is a perimeter and an area. We want to find the perimeter first, and so we count them all the way around here. Okay, so I'm going to do it quickly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So the perimeter is 28 units. Most people get stuck on this one right here. Oops, that's the area. Let's go 28 units here. Okay. Now, most people get stuck and they count squares, but with units we're counting lengths. So this right here, this square here, has 2 of its sides contributing to the perimeter of this figure. Okay, so you want to make sure you get that as 2. The area is going to be however many squares are in here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 3 rows of 6 here, so this will be 18 squares. Okay. So we can divide our figure up. Okay, and we have 18 units squared here. The next one will have green 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 2 groups of 5 there. Okay, so that's going to be 10 unit squares. And when I add 18 unit squares and 10 unit squares, we actually get 28 unit squares. Okay, so I was right. Okay, for that one. Number 3, on the grid to the right, draw an example of a rectangle that has a perimeter of 28 units and an area greater than 45 square units. Okay. Here's our grid. We need to draw like a rectangle here. So let's say we can do like this one is a 3 by 3 rectangle because there's 3 side lengths here, 3 side lengths there, and the area is 9. Now the 3 by 3 has 3, 6, 9, 12 units in its perimeter. The area equals 9 units squared. Okay, so that's an example. Our conditions again are the rectangle has to have a perimeter of 28 units and an area greater than 45 square units. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video and think about what you want your rectangle to look like, and then resume it when you're done. Okay, so now that you have your rectangle, most people think of a 6 by 8 rectangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is how big my rectangle is. 6 by 8. Okay. Because the area is going to be 48 units squared, the perimeter is equal to 28 units. Okay. 6 and 6 make 14. Okay. 8 and 8 makes 16, and 14 and 16 is 28. Okay, as a review, we can go ahead and find the area by doing the length times width, which in this case is 6 units times 8 units. Okay. 6 units this way, 8 units this way. That area is greater than 45. And the perimeter is the length of the top and the bottom, plus the length of the left and the right sides. Now, in a rectangle, those are always going to be the same. So we take twice the length plus twice the width. 2 times 6 units plus 2 times 8 units. Okay, left and right, top and bottom. That's equal to 12 units plus 16 units, which is equal to 28 units. Okay. So let's review about how those are calculated. Let's go on to number 4. The other ones for number 3 are like 7 by 7 square. Okay. And you can try a 5 by 9 rectangle, but that's still 45 units. It has to be greater than 45. So 6 by 8 and 7 by 7. Okay. Also a 7 by 7 is good. Because it's a square, but all squares are rectangles. So that would technically work. Number 4, on the grid, there's an imprint of an elephant's footprint. 2 groups of students found the area in the following ways. So Anne's group found by counting the squares and estimating the parts of the squares. Okay, so she counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, those are all worth 1 square. So I'll put 1s in these. But she also estimated, her group estimated the parts. So this one right here could be, oh, I don't know, 5, 6. This one could be 3/4. This one could be a half. This it could be 3/4 again. This one could be 3/4. Okay, and they did that for each one of the squares. That's Anne's group. Okay, Anne's group. Clark's group found the area by placing a string around the perimeter. And what they do is they straighten the string out and they measured the squares that it was in. Okay. Right, so they placed the string around, made a rectangle with the string, and counted the squares that it was in. So you can get the exact number of squares. Which method was better than the other? Circle your choice. Ann's, Clark's, both correct or both incorrect. And you need to explain why your choice is right. So go ahead and pause the video now and decide who is correct and why. Or both or none. Good. And go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, now that we've thought about that one, which team are you on? Are you on Ann's team or Clark's team? Well, what we needed to notice is that Ann's team is probably the better than the other. You can either do Ann or both incorrect because Ann has to estimate and Clark's is actually going to be way off. The perimeter can change. You can change the perimeter, but okay, so for Clark's group, why they're a bit off is that even though they can find the area with a perimeter, and if you find those number of squares with this perimeter here, because you're changing the perimeter from the foot to a rectangle, your area doesn't necessarily have to change and notice that we're using the same perimeter throughout each of these exercises. Number 1, the perimeter was 28 units. Number 2, the perimeter was 28 units. And number 3, the perimeter was 28 units. But they all have different areas. Okay? Notice that circle the areas in purple. Notice that the area of the first rectangle is 13 units. The area of the second is 28 units squared. And the area of the third is 48 units squared. So even though you have the same perimeter, you'll have varying areas. When you take the footprint perimeter and you move it to make a rectangle, you're changing the area. Okay. So Ann's is more correct than Clark's on this one. Okay. All right, so that's that handout. In sum, the perimeter and the area are not related, okay? And the perimeter is twice the length plus twice the width, and area is length times width.